world. Want to always thank you all for being here. I know that you can be anywhere else, but you are here with us. We have some great information for you today. I want to welcome Joe DeSimone, Chief Operating Officer for GreenSpot, and Kimberly Harden, Association Manager for GWRCCC, and Jarrell Jones, who's our community engagement liaison. They will be presenting on two really important programs around electrification this morning. But as always, I want to start with a couple of quick announcements. The first is that we are asking everyone to start become a member. We're starting to recruit for our 2024 membership. So if you've not, I know this year is almost over, but you can get a head start and pay your 2024 membership dues. So we'll put that in the chat for you as well. I want to make a couple other announcements. One, we have a job fair coming up on November 8th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. in Washington, D.C. It's going to be at 2014th Street on the first floor, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So if you're hiring or you're recruiting, please sign up for that career fair as well. So we're looking forward to that event. We will also have one on December 7th in Prince George's County, Maryland as well. So we'll announce that at one of our upcoming events, and it will be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Sports and Learning Center. So look forward to that. Also, another big day is coming up, November 28th. That's a couple days, that Tuesday right after Turkey Day, Thanksgiving Day. So we want everyone to make sure we're on that list for what they call Giving Tuesday. That's the day after Thanksgiving where they give to organizations, nonprofits like our organization. So make sure we're on your list. Don't be a turkey, gobble, gobble, give to GWRCCC. So we'll make sure you're on the list of donating to us, and we'll make sure I'll copy this and we'll make sure we put that in the chat as well. Last announcement, two last announcements. One is make sure you're following us on social media. We have, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, or LinkedIn. And we're always putting information up there pretty much several times a week. That gives you the most current information on what we're doing, everything from grants to announcements to industry news and trends. So please do that. We also are doing a survey for our 5-year strategic plan. So take a few minutes and fill that out. If you have some ideas on things you'd like for us to work on over the next 5 years, we are aggressively seeking input from all of our members, stakeholders, and program attendees, participants, and supporters. So just take a minute to fill that out today or tomorrow. We greatly appreciate your input. So without further ado, and I will make those announcements again at the end. I want to go to our first presenter. Joe has led GreenSpot as the Chief Operating Officer since 2021. It seems like he's been there forever. He's been working really hard and trying to grow that company and brings over 16 years of relevant experience to the team. Since joining the company, he has successfully doubled the number of charging stations installed and tripled their energy sales through his focus on improving the sales pipeline internal process. He works very closely with us. He's one of our project partners on the Mid-Atlantic Electrification project. And that's a really great program that we will hear a lot about, where we're deploying level 2 chargers throughout DC, Maryland, and West Virginia. So hopefully everyone will sign up and make sure you keep Joe nice and busy We like to send him recommendations and sites all the time. And so we are ramping up to just make sure we get as many of those sites populated with EV charging. I was just I'm in Newark right now. I'll be leaving to come back to DC area right after this. And I was watching the news this morning, and my good friend Eric Adams, who's the mayor of New York City, I'm actually going to text him after this call. They had a big announcement today about EV charging in New York City. And I'm just so proud of all the work that he's doing, not only on EV charging, but with biofuels as well, just really promoting clean energy and clean transportation. So without further ado, Joe, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you all for having me, and appreciate you taking the time today. Won't take up too much of your time. I think they only give me about 10 minutes, but just so I can get the lay of the land, if you could just kind of real quick in the chat, just type, kind of what type of property you might be interested in looking at. Maybe where you're, who you're representing. Is it a municipality? Is it a local government? Is it residential property, office buildings, retail? Feel free to just kind of, do that live in the chat if you could, as I get started here. And if I can share my screen, which I believe I can.
Yes, you should be good to go.
I'll get that going. I don't have to restart here. Okay. Well, I don't have this set up yet, and I don't want to drop off and hop back on. So we'll do this without sharing the screen. GreenSpot is a network operator. We are similar to ChargePoint, Blink, Tesla, EVgo, Electrify America. We own and operate our own network of charging stations throughout the US and also in Israel as well. In the US, we are in 14 states. We have about 500 ports in operation, both level 2 and DC fast chargers. We work with all types of properties, everything from multifamily residential, that can be rentals, condo buildings, a mix of both. We specialize in deeded parking, which is oftentimes quite complex. Also, in a rental situation, you might have assigned parking. So we have programs that are specifically designed around that. But we also do smaller installations for maybe a retail location. We do hospitality like hotels. We also do commercial garages or office buildings as well. And we have a program designed around office buildings for workforces that maybe you have a fleet, or maybe you have vehicle or transportation expenses. We can help you save money by switching to electric and provide all the infrastructure you need. GreenSpot's model basically is to fully fund these projects in return for the space that you're providing for us to install the EV chargers and to provide energy to drivers. We are also giving, typically the site host or the property owner a piece of our net revenue so that you're making income. We're covering all the operational expenses. So all the electricity cost of both running the equipment and drivers charging. We're also covering all of the software and the maintenance and everything that is needed over time. So at the end of the day, you can, look at GreenSpot as providing a no-cost, fully funded solution from day one. We take care of everything from start to finish. So permitting, engineering, construction, get everything installed, and then we operate and maintain that for you over time as well. I'm going to admit this person to the room. So to sign up, it's really simple. I mean, you can do that in multiple different ways. You can reach out to Antoine and his group directly. They have a form on their website that you can fill out, and then those responses will get batched over to us. We'll reach out to you directly. You can also reach GreenSpot I will put the email address in the chat for everyone as well. And if you reach out, then I'm most likely going to be the one to respond, and we could start the conversation there. Initial conversation is really quick and easy, about 30 minutes, kind of figure out what your property is like, or who your client is if you're a consultant. We could work together to develop that, figure out your needs, what if you're working with a client, what your client needs are, and then we will, formulate the program that we offer directly to that. It's very flexible in terms of what we're offering and how we're doing it. The term of the contract is very flexible. The profit sharing, so we try to cater it directly to what you need. And it's kind of like a custom boutique approach to EV charging. Once we do develop a relationship, we have a contract in place, we start the project immediately. It takes roughly 6 months to get the infrastructure installed on the ground. You don't have to worry about any permitting or inspections. We take care of all of that. Any grants or rebates, there's no paperwork involved on your end. We literally take everything over, and we do the full project for the people that we're working with. If it's a condo building or something like that, there's a few more steps involved, because oftentimes there's a board involved or multiple stakeholders. So we'll work with the board, we'll work with the property manager, and make sure that everyone's comfortable with what we're doing before we proceed. And the reason why that's unique is because in a deeded parking situation in a condo building, it's really difficult to kind of find one solution that gives you everything that building needs. So we have engineered solutions that we typically start with available power that the building has, or we even coordinate with the local utility to bring in more power to the building. And then we distribute that. We make the bulk of that investment in that power distribution throughout that building. We, have done buildings as large as about 1,000 parking spots on a 10-story parking garage, as an example, where we distribute power to each level of that garage. And then as those residents, or this could even be in an office building situation where the spots are reserved, as people kind of raise their hand, they sign up for it, then we run power over to their spot, connect their charger. If they own that spot, then they end up owning their charger. If they're renting that spot, then we install a charger in a way that allows us to be flexible and move it around. That model is very important because it solves a lot of problems that exist in those buildings, and especially in locations in DC that are it's very dense urban environment. There's lots of these buildings that exist, and it's a unique solution for that particular problem. Then when there's property managers involved, we make their job easier. When anyone has issues, they call us directly. We have 24/7 service available. If the charger breaks down, we can see it ourselves. We dispatch a technician out to fix it. And we offer many different speeds of chargers depending on the application. If there's valet parking, we have faster chargers where the valet can rotate vehicles through the faster charger. But if it's in a private spot, typically you're going to be charging overnight for multiple hours. So we'll give you a commercial level 2 for that. Chargers work with any vehicle on the road, including Tesla. We selected the chargers specifically that we use because they've been very reliable, and we've been using them out in the field for about the past 10 years with very few issues. So the user experience and everything is really important to us. Everyone would have a Green Spot mobile app, which is free to download. You'll get an RFID tag, which allows you to start a charge faster. And then anything that you need in terms of maintenance or anything like that, you would come to us, or we would let you know that there was an issue that we'll resolve for you. So I think that's all I have. Happy to take any inquiries. Feel free to reach out to me via email and ask any questions during this call. Thank you, Antoine.
Yeah, so let me get to our next two speakers, and then we'll take some questions for you, because I know people have. I see them piling up in the chat. So, all right, we'll go next to Kimberly Harden.
Good morning, everyone. So I, as well as Darrell, we're going to be doing this. We're tag teaming today. So I do have a presentation that I'd like to share. If I could get, oh, you're going to do it. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start out with the agenda for today. And then Darrell is going to pick up with slide number 3. All right, so today our assignment is to go over a few things as far as the Empower Workplace Charging Program. And that will include, we're going to just give a little bit of workplace charging basics, the benefits of workplace charging, what is Empower, what is Empower, why is it important, project goals and KPIs, project roadmap. We're also going to talk about the partners and the structure of the project. And so you can't see screen 1. Can you take it out of presentation mode? Oh, put it in presentation mode. I'm sorry. If not, I have mine here. I can share.
It's because I have 2 screens. So is it showing you the presentation mode on one? I don't know how.
Yeah, showing it's if you can allow me, I have mine ready. Okay. 1 second. If you're able to. Okay, here we go. Just want to just say what the Empower is actually an acronym. Let me change this to so that I can bring this down. There we go. All right. So the acronym is Empower, but what that stands for is equitable mobility, powering opportunities for workplace electrification readiness. And so today, myself and Darrell, I just said what we were going to go through today, and this is going to be pretty brief. So don't let this list just let that haunt you. All right, Darrell.
Yes, ma'am. Good mid-morning, everyone. We're almost there to the afternoon. But we'll start off by where do EV owners actually need chargers? Through research, it says 80% of EV owners currently charge their homes at home, where of course it's convenient. The accessibility of electric vehicle charging infrastructure is a critical factor in adoption of electric cars. While many EV owners have the convenience of charging at home, there's a significant portion of the population, particularly apartment dwellers, if you are in DC, who do not have the ability to charge their to charge their EVs at home. This presents a unique challenge in expanding the reach of EV charging infrastructure. Apartment dwellers often face several obstacles when it comes to charging their electric vehicles at home. Lack of dedicated parking, limited access to electrical outlets, and of course, landlord approvals. Given these challenges, it becomes clear that one of the most promising solutions for apartment dwellers and others without charging solutions at home is to provide workplace charging. That's where they spend the most substantial amount of time outside of their homes, and the workplace is a prime candidate for such an infrastructure. We can go to the next slide. Now, why we value workplace charging: it demonstrates climate leadership amongst your business. It attracts and retains top talent, and improves employee satisfaction, and it also earns a certificate. It earns certification points for local and national programs such as LEED. I don't know if anybody's familiar, but the LEED program helps your business get certain tax write-offs here in DC. We can go to the next slide as well. And why workplace charging? So in the workplace, it allows us to have long dwell time. People typically spend a significant portion of their day at work, often 8 hours or more. This extended period provides ample time for an electric vehicle to charge, even if it's not a high-speed charger. It also allows for a predictable schedule. Workdays often follow a routine schedule, making it easier for employees to plan their charging needs. They can plug in their vehicles when they arrive at work, unplug when they leave, ensuring that their EVs are adequately charged for their daily commute. And it also reduces charging costs as well. Next slide. And these are some general questions that we come across. What time of day and day of the week will employees most want access to charging? How many charging stations are needed to meet anticipated demands? Should employees pay a fee for workplace EV charging? Should charging stations be accessible to the public? That's a big one. Will the number of chargers installed be enough to satisfy employee demands? And what will the cost be? How long will this project take? And what equipment should we consider? Next slide, please. Now, what is the Empower program? The Empower program is the first and only equity-focused nationwide workplace charging program in the United States, one of 3 national workplace charging projects funded by the US DOE. And it basically kind of catalyzes workplace charging adoption throughout outreach, workplace charger installations, and commitments. Next slide. Empower aims to increase employer commitments, especially in historically underserved and disadvantaged communities, which makes it more challenging and even more important of a task. It will conduct EV charging research to answer questions such as, what is the ideal price of electricity at workplaces? How long will it take a workplace to recover their investment? Usable information we all share with workplaces and utility companies. We are also collecting call starts and forth data for research. We can go to the next slide. Now, this is the goal of the project, is to create the pathways and create an infrastructure for workplace charging, recognize publicly that the workplace is a substantial place for us to actually include EV charging, and be a one-stop shop for web resources and tools related to workplace charging, consistent messaging, tactics, and coordination with national data and utility partners.
All right, thank you, Darrell. So I don't know if I've mentioned this, but GWRCC is actually supporting and also partnering with the Empower program. So we are going to be your go-to organization in terms of answering questions and being able to provide additional information and support. In terms of our project key performance indicators, 2,000 workplaces have been contacted. Of that, 40% we have commitments from employers of diverse backgrounds. So you can see the different ones that are provided there, and also underserved and disinvested communities. So if you fit in any of those categories, we do have commitment forms that a commitment form that's available for you to review and also to pledge to be supportive of this initiative. Also, there are 3,500 electric vehicle supply equipment ports installed as well. This next slide actually shows just the roadmap, and it's just a snapshot when the project began, which was April 1st, 2022. And so that was the planning and preparation part of that. Starting July 1 of 2023, that's when the implementation actually has launched. And then by July 30th, actually, of next year, July 1, we'd like to be able to wrap up and actually have just completion of this project. And so your help with that would make this would make it happen as well. This next slide that I'm about to show you just provides you with the planning team and also the implementation. I don't know if you can see this, but the implementation team as well. And I do have to say, I actually went to a team meeting with the Empower program partners and others, Clean City coalitions back in August. And so some of these, if not all of a representative from each of those, the group of partners from the planning team were present. And so I will say that they were extremely passionate, very much interested in how, each of the coalitions was able to, navigate through the process, they're also able to provide us with support and also resources. So I will say that this is a very, very great team that we are supported by. Excuse me. All right, so this next one just gives you a snapshot of the participating states and areas. Washington, D.C. is one of them. Of course, Maryland is as well. And then the regional captain is actually within the state of Virginia. So this just gives you, an idea of those that are participating at this point within the Empower program. All right. And then this slide here, it actually shows you the workplacecharging.com, which includes a sample workplace charging survey and a strategy guidance that we utilize. It also provides some other information. And of course, GWRCCC, we are also a resource as well. And so we are providing EV 101, webinars, and also providing information, and that information is located on our website, and that will be updated on a regular basis. But we'll also be hosting information sessions that will provide you details and information on a regular basis in the months to come about the Empower program. And so the checklist I do want to make reference to, so that you're able to just be informed, but we also want your participation in this, as we have a lot to do before we reach that deadline year in terms of just switching things over and reducing those carbon fuels that we've been awarded through the bipartisan, excuse me, my throat is bothering me, the infrastructure Act. So we have a lot to do in a short period of time. That window is narrowing down pretty quickly. So it just says to contact your local clean cities. That would be us. Connect with your workplace. And this is to see if you're able to at least pledge to or be able to participate within this program. Connect with your power providers and then make a work electric plan. This is just providing you also with next steps, and it also provides the technical assistance that is provided as well. So I'm not going to read through all of that on the right, but I will read, just says connect with your personal work charging coach. Your coach can work with you to place with your place of business to survey your coworkers, employers, engage the need. You and your coach will create a plan of action. And so all of that starts with your completion of the commitment plan. Excuse me. And as this is the last slide, this does provide you with email addresses for myself and for Darrell, just to reach out to us directly if you have any questions. Also, if once you create that commitment form, our team actually will be working with you directly and very closely to make sure that whatever information and resources you need are made available to you. All right. And that's all I have. Thanks, Darrell, for tag teaming with me.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you. I see we have a lot of questions. I also want to invite folks, before I take some questions, we're doing a trip to one of our partners' facilities, their EV charging company, and it's going to be in Mechanicsburg, PA. So anyone that's interested in going on a trip to see their supply facility for all the EV companies and everyone that's interested in cabling, wiring, and all that good stuff, all the good work they do to supply folks. So that's on Friday, November 3rd. We'll be back. We leave at 8:30. We will be back by 4:30. And so I'm put that in the chat. If you're interested, you can send me an email. And I'll put my email in here. Well, they'll have lunch and all that good stuff as well. So that's next Friday. Okay. It's the American Wire Group. I put supple, but it's just say supply. So excuse me for that. All right. So we got some questions. Let me start with my first question for our fearless leader, Joe. What's the time frame what's the estimated time frame for getting those chargers installed from the moment they submit the request? How long was the estimated timetable for a level 2 installation for the program?
Sure, that's a good question. Now, it depends on two things. So some of our clients, they have existing chargers that they would like to replace for various different reasons. Those chargers might be at the end of their life, they might not be working anymore. They may want to upgrade in terms of the speed or the type. That takes almost no time at all. Once you make the request, we'll reach out to you, and then probably within a month or so, you'll have new chargers in operation. If it's brand new infrastructure and we need to go do the full setup, which includes utility coordination and a new service to the property to bring more power, then that usually takes about 6 months or so to complete those types of projects. So if we're connecting to existing building, it can be as short as like 3 months or so, but we'll keep you fully up to speed. Once you do make a request, like if you fill out the form through Antoine, once his team gets that over to us, then we'll reach out to you within, typically 24 hours, and then we'll start the conversation. We'll go from there.
Awesome. All right, we'll go to Kim. So some people often ask the question, I'm already doing EV charging. Why do I need to sign the pledge? Why do they need to sign the pledge? And why does it matter to the program?
Well, for purposes of even collecting the data, I think it's important and specifically within the region, even though you already have that, we still would like to see that information, and any support that we can provide in the interim while you've already had that done. I think is helpful for both of us to know that.
Great. And the pledge form only takes what, a couple minutes, right?
If that. That's
right. And so we strongly encourage people to fill out the form. We will be going nuts promoting signing the pledge. So as mentioned earlier, even if you're already doing, you want to be recognized nationally for this program that's received awards, that will receive even more awards. The other thing too is whether they're level 2 or level 3 chargers, people are often trying to find them. So when they're on our list, we can help get them into other lists as well, whether it's public or private charging. But we especially want to work with you, provide technical support as well. And we're big promoters of really making sure this program is a success. We can't do it without you. And we want to make sure that disadvantaged communities get adequate access to charging. I can't share with you how many times I am out at events. In fact, we're in Newark talking about biodiesel last night, but people were also pulled me to the side and was talking about EV charging. The fact that it's so hard to find charging in communities of color. It's a recurring thing. We've got to fix it. We cannot allow that to be the new broadband of 2023 and beyond. So let's work together to get those chargers and out, especially in underserved communities. All right, we had a comment from Marnie. Good to see you, Marnie. Marnie said that Joe, she'd like to work with you on condo
Condos.
buildings. So share with us how you work with condos. I know sometimes those boards, you got to work through those politics, but how's that going for you with the program and just as a whole, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, it's going well. We have about 140 more level 2 ports to distribute throughout your region. So and we have a short period of time to do that. However, you know, we'll continue even if it goes past that date in the budget period, but we are actively trying to extend it. In terms of condos, I mean, it's been going well. It's a fairly new model for us that we started developing earlier this year. We saw a major problem in the condo arena mainly because of the deeded parking, because the owner of the unit also owns their parking spot or multiple parking spots. You know, and the structure of the property can be a mix of interior and exterior parking. It doesn't really matter to us. Obviously, if it's a big parking lot, that's a much more challenging way to distribute power than in a, you know, exposed conduit in a parking garage, but it can still be done. We've done several where it was a mix between the two. The conversation usually starts with the property manager or somebody on the board. The board's important to get involved very early, obviously because they're usually the sole you know, decision makers. And you know, we'll start a presentation, we'll visit the location, we'll do an assessment of the property, and then we have a proposal to provide to the board to review. And then we usually take it a step further where sometimes they want us, only a few board members are involved. They want us to do a larger presentation, or we meet in front of even more members in the association to do something, you know, a larger Q&A session. But it's really getting everyone to buy into the fact that in a condo setup, you need a long-term solution. That you're really starting in the beginning to really plan out how you're going to utilize the building power that's still existing, and then the different phases, how you're going to bring power in over time. And we have a product where, say in the beginning, there's 400 parking spots, but only 10 people are interested in having their own charger. We can provide that. So we set up those first 10 spots with EV chargers in the beginning. And then every 3 months, we continue to take applications. So that, say the next batch is 5 people, we come back, we connect those 5. Now we have 15 in operation. And we'll continue to do that over the term of the agreement. We provide all of the maintenance and everything necessary to keep that system fully operational. And then we use a sophisticated type of software that can manage the load that's available. So everyone that's hooked up and charging will always at least get some type of power, and then it'll be redistributed as those vehicles stop charging. So that, you know, oftentimes condos are complex, but we have lots of different solutions to help solve the problems.
Thank you. Thank you. Question for Darrell. Darrell, the Empower program has a big focus on EJ communities, and what are some of the things that you all are doing to make sure that these communities even know about EV charging, and what unique things are you going to do to get this word out into some of the areas? And some of the folks that are on, are you available to come to their meetings, whether in person or on Zoom or some other virtual platform to talk about the program?
You kind of excuse me, kind of segue into my answer. We have been building a database to basically put together clergy meetings with local government council, and meeting with small businesses to inform them of the Empower program, also to inform them of other programs about Justice 40 and how we can improve, or basically more so about equity in their areas, bringing this program at their front door. So I'm sorry I like that, but that's all right. That's the way we are going about this.
All right, all right. I see that Janae said that definitely wants to work with folks moving forward as they prepare for the energy transition. So we will definitely stay committed to that. So yes, Joe, you want to kind of reemphasize why people need to apply? You know, federal money doesn't stand around forever, right? So we got to get these chargers out, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a little confusing because, you know, Green Spot isn't necessarily dependent on the funding, but the funding certainly helps in a lot of situations, especially on the municipal level for sure. Oftentimes those locations, it's harder to get utilization. You know, the property they own might not be ideal, but the federal funding allows us to speed up that process. And because we're making the full investment, it you know, kind of helps us offset that a little bit. But like I said, we're not dependent, so it is kind of a little counterintuitive. But the federal funding does go at least through the end of next year. So that'll help accelerate some of these projects that you're interested in tackling, and we'll continue to try to extend that if possible, right, Antoine? But
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
I mean, sometimes you can only do so much, and I mean, we were fortunate enough to be awarded those several years ago, and we did a lot of good work. But there's still a lot more to do. So, you know, very excited to continue pushing and trying to get the infrastructure installed. And you know, feel free to reach out with any questions and any interest at all.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So we'll wrap up unless there are any more questions. I want to give each of our, I did see Mr. Quentin said he'd love to be on anyone's team. He's a project manager, so reach out to them. We know that as we grow this demand, all these new electric vehicles are coming on every day. Lots of new models are on the street. So hopefully over the next few weeks and months, you all will be so busy that you'll need so many more, your teams will rapidly expand. So we're really excited about that. I'd like to give Joe and Kim and Darrell each a minute to just any closing comments before we wrap up, and I'll close out with some quick announcements.
You go ahead, Joe.
I was actually just going to say, I feel like I've said a lot. Feel free to hop in, Darrell or Kimberly.
Sure. First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone who was a part of this call today. Please spread the word. Also want to ask if you need the form or the pledge letter or information, please. We did put it in the chat, but I can ask Laurel if she would do it again. And just share that with those within the communities or those that would be a great fit for this, and so that we can all be better in the years to come. Thank you.
I've said a lot, and I agree with everything Ms. Kim just said. Thank you all for having me.
All right, Joe, you get the last word.
Yeah, no, I'll repeat that. Thank you as well for the time and for being interested in this topic. I think it's really important what we're doing. And, you know, ultimately at the end of the day, like, yes, I mean, a lot of these organizations are in the business of, you know, being a successful business and trying to make money, but we're also trying to help the planet and change the world. So, you know, again, this is something we're doing because we're passionate about it and excited to see other people that are passionate about the topic as well and trying to do the same thing. So appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, well, I want to thank you all. I did put in the chat, we're having a road trip next Friday, 8:30 a.m. to go see one of our electric vehicle supply equipment manufacturers who supplies wiring and cabling. It'll be a nice field trip. We'll include lunch as well. So we're gonna shuffle off to Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. So sign up, send me an email if you want to travel with us. Should be exciting. You can learn a lot of good things on how they put some of this stuff together. And remember that if you are hiring blue collar, white collar, every type of job, green collar, let us know. And we do have a job fair. We'd love for you all to help do some recruitment. I want to thank our team for their help and their leadership. Teamwork makes the dream work, and you all have a great day. See you soon. Bye-bye.